DWX. I'm very excited that Red Dirt decided to throw some support into the DWX line. I'm very interested to see other manufacturers and in the secondary market start supporting this. I'll show a semi-factory trigger bow there with the Red Dirt. You can see the Red Dirt bow is milled and quite a bit thicker, which is great. I did have a little bit of issue with this particular pistol. I have two, and in one of them, it worked absolutely amazing. Perfect. No issues whatsoever. And the gun that I'm showing in the video that I'm doing the install on, I had a little bit of an issue where there was some drag on the magazine when there was a magazine inserted. And so I worked that out. I exchanged the trigger with Red Dirt so that they could make sure that there was nothing wrong with the one that I had, which I don't think there is. It just is manufacturing tolerances. And this particular frame, grip frame, is just a little bit different or whatever than most of them, and allowed the magazine to slide over a little bit and rub against the trigger bow. Here you can see I marked up this bow with some black marker, and you can see the little wear mark, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It caused a lot of issue with the trigger for it resetting and stuff, and you'll see that in a minute. I'll show it trying to reset and not being able to do it. Anyway, a little bit of backyard garage gunsmithing. I sanded down the front portion of the bow where it was interfering with the magazine just a tiny bit. And a tiny bit, I'm talking, it was about 0.02 of an inch of material that I removed over a small area. Anyway, that fixed up the problem. You can see here in the little cut up above where it's not resetting. Anyway, after that, it worked great. I cut in the other pistol that I have that I installed it on, and it worked stellar on that with no issues whatsoever. I'm just stripping down the gun. There's all these other videos that I've got where I show you how to take the gun apart, and I'm doing it here in front of you, and you can see. And I know I've said it before, and I'll say it right now. This pistol is stupid easy to work on. I mean, in some ways, easier than a Glock. Anyway, here's some close-ups of the trigger. There you can see the over travel screw, which is accessible through the face of the trigger. There is also pre-travel adjustment available. You can see these little tiny set screws that are threaded into the front of the bow. And I didn't end up using them on this particular frame. There's so little take-up available at the beginning that it's just not necessary. In order to get a full reset of the trigger and all that kind of stuff, you may or may not have it. I had some questions for Red Dirt initially, which they were very kind and answered for me, because I was trying to, add pre-travel, reduction, and it just wasn't necessary. It's a very front to back everywhere. Everything fits really nice, so I didn't need to actually use it. I am showing it here so you can see where it is. They include some Loctite and some instructions with the trigger. But since there's so minimal pre-travel on this trigger, on this particular frame, I foregoed the whole, I didn't use it. But you can see how it's installed. You can adjust it once the trigger bow is installed in the gun. I mean, the trigger group, the trigger is in the gun. You can take off the grip panel, and you can kind of awkwardly go in there and make some adjustments. But there's very little adjustment available and very little adjustment actually needed. I would be surprised if many people are, we're talking like maybe at one turn of the screw or something. Anyway, I'm kind of fumbling around there, but you get the point. There's a threaded area on each side of the front of the bow, and you can screw that in there. And again, I didn't end up using it because it wasn't necessary. I'm not sure what else to say about that other than cool. It is accessible with the gun put back together so you do not have to strip it all down. But you would want to apply some Loctite to the surfaces of these threads before you put it together, because you're not threading that screw in once it's installed in the gun. There I'm showing it's up in the edge there. I'm showing the area where I sanded that a little bit, polished it up and sanded it, and just removal of about 0.02 of an inch was on not even that whole side of the bow. Freed everything up for me. I doubt that's going to be normal for most people. Talking to the Red Dirt guys via email and whatnot, they were like, yeah, we've never experienced that before. So it's probably not normal. If you run across it, you could talk to them, and you could do what I did and just sand off a little bit of material here. I'm going to drop the hammer back in there, put the hammer pin in, put the safeties back on, put everything back together. This video is pretty much done real time. I mean, it's a 10-minute job, maybe, if you've taken the gun apart a few times. If you haven't taken the gun apart, maybe take a little bit more time, watch some of the videos I've done. Maybe some other people have put some videos out by now. I'm not sure. For sure, there is some more information out there. But make sure you're putting everything back in the way it goes. And for some reason, when I filmed this, I misplaced the little tool that comes with the gun. But screwdriver or whatever is fine to set the detent spring there. I'm just using this little junky flat blade screwdriver. The gun does come with a little tool to actually do this, but it was in my range bag when I was recording this. Make sure everything functions there as far as the safeties. And something I like to do is to put the trigger bow, the sear spring back in there and kind of pin it down with my thumb or my forefinger, and that way you can check for the different notches on the trigger, on the hammer there, where as you're doing it, you'll have your safety notch and then the full cock. So, if I can get it right, you'll get a click, and then you'll get another click as the hammer goes to full cock, and then you can pull the trigger. Now, I didn't quite get it there, and then I rearranged the spring, and now you can probably hear it on the video. Good to go. Put the mainspring housing back on. A little shakety shake and slide that back in. I like to tip the gun like I did there to allow the strut to fall down in there. Make sure you're not dropping the hammer on the frame, and you should get these audible clicks in different locations here. Slide goes back on, slide stop, slide release, snap in there. Check your gun for function. Make sure that everything's resetting, the trigger moves freely, and the hammer falls, and there's no issues with your safety. It's a good looking trigger. It does offer some rigidity. That's a little bit better rigidity in the trigger bow compared to the stock offerings. They do have flat. It's a flat style that they're selling right now. As far as I know, they don't have any other shapes, but they do have different lengths. This is the shortest one. I got little short fingers, and I don't need a long trigger reach, but they do have different lengths of trigger there, so you can adjust that. Here I'm trying to kind of show how you could adjust the set screws there, and I'm gonna slap the grips back on this gun and finish putting it together and roll out some outro stuff. Nothing too interesting here other than just you get to see this trigger in the gun. Right now, as far as I know, it looks like they have black and silver. So, if you like black and silver, then you're good to go. It seems like a solid trigger. It looks like a great trigger. I think people, if they get them, they'll be pretty pleased with them. As far as value, I think it's worth the money for the machining and everything else they put into this trigger. It's definitely, you can see that there's been work done here. To mill a trigger bow is no little thing. Like, it would be a pain in the butt. I'm sure they have some pretty intense fixturing there to get that done properly. And so it's nice. It's well done. I think they make a bunch of them for different models, and just perusing around on the internet, looks like people like them. So check it out. Go see if you can find yourself a red dirt that you like or not. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, whatever you're going to do. Have a good day.